Hey folks, hope you're having a good evening wherever you are and you're getting nice and sleepy. Or maybe it's the middle of the night and you can't sleep and you decided to turn this on because you have insomnia. Either way, you're going to be very happy that you did. This is Storytime Telling with Kurt Thompson, Music History 101. And we're going to take a look at Schoenberg. Schoenberg, Schoenberg. We really shouldn't blame Schoenberg. The way he tells it, at least, it wasn't his fault. I am the slave of an internal power stronger than my education, he once said. Elsewhere he said, I am but the loudspeaker of an idea. The idea is an electric current in the air. It may come from Jupiter, from the cosmos. That is not proven. Here's a picture of Schoenberg with the loudspeaker idea. Arnold Schoenberg was not always a human radio receiver for a musical broadcast from Jupiter. By all accounts, his childhood was quite normal. The widow of Alban Berg, one of Schoenberg's pupils, claimed that Berg regularly talked with her from beyond the grave, giving instructions about his opera Lulu. It takes all kinds. As an adult, he was short, balding, and had large, bulging eyes. Maybe he read too much. Or maybe he was related to George Costanza from Seinfeld. Schoenberg was born in Vienna in 1874 and began taking violin lessons at school when he was 8. After leaving school, he worked at Innebank for a short time, but that didn't work out. He'd been composing on his own without instruction. Wait a minute, he began composing on his own without any formal instruction. Okay, note to self. Aside from a brief period when he took lessons in counterpoint from Alexander von Zemlinsky, Schoenberg remained almost entirely self-taught. And the footnote here says maybe that explains a lot. And if you haven't listened to Schoenberg, I remember that dropped a needle in music history class in college, and man, my ears are still never been the same. You got to Google Schoenberg and listen to some of his stuff, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. To say that his music was dissonant would be the understatement of the century. As a young man, Schoenberg took to handing out the cafes in Vienna, drinking espresso. I'm sorry about that. He took to hanging out around the cafes in Vienna, drinking espresso, discussing the music of Wagner with all the other intellectuals who met there. He occasionally took jobs orchestrating music for a local operetta house. He didn't particularly enjoy the work, but he needed the money. Schoenberg, by the way, usually spells his name Schoenberg, with the two little dots over the O, which in German is called an umlaut. If you leave out the umlaut, you have to put it in an extra E to make up for it. Now you know. Schoenberg never worried about how to spell his own name. He was too busy thinking about how to revolutionize the language of music. He started off simply enough, writing in a sophisticated ultra-chromatic style that grew out of the works of Mahler. But he went further than that, stretching the very limits of tonality to the breaking point. When the smoke had cleared, the structures of tonality that were the result of centuries of development lay in splinters on the floor. With Schoenberg standing in the wreckage, it was not a pretty sight. The system of composition developed by Schoenberg and later carried on by pupils Berg and Anton von Webern came to be called serialism, or, no, I'm not even going to get this right, dodecaphony. In it, the 12 tones that make up all the notes in an octave are arranged in a series called a tone row, from which all the melodic material for a piece of music is developed. Beyond that, it gets too esoteric to explain. Schoenberg complained all through his life that no one understood him. It doesn't surprise me. And go listen to his music, and it won't surprise you. From the very beginning, Schoenberg's music was greeted with derision and disapproval by concert-goers. At the premiere performance of his first set of songs in 1900, there was a fist fight in the audience. At the first performance of his chamber symphony, many people in the audience left early and made a lot of noise on the way out. They banged their fists on the seats, whistled loudly, and jeered. For his next recital, Schoenberg had a card printed up telling the audience that the purchase of a ticket entitled them to sit quietly and listen, but not to express their opinion of the music. It didn't do much good. When the fight during another performance led to a court case, a doctor testified for the defense that many in the audience had showed definite signs of neurosis as a result of listening to the music. And if you're actually awake and you haven't fallen asleep, you got to go listen to his stuff, and this won't be so funny. is his music. It's just god awful, dissonant, flashing, horrible. I mean, it just sounds like a kid banging their fist on a piano. You got to go listen to check that out. I mean, this is the guy making this stuff up. December 26, 1934 was an important day. In the Suite for Strings in G major, Schoenberg wrote his first proper key signature in 27 years, just to show that he hadn't forgotten what they were for. Schoenberg took up painting as a hobby for a while, and as a young man experimented with the concept of a typewriter for musical notation. Other than that, there wasn't much that could distract him from his self-proclaimed mission of the emancipation of the dissonants. He took this mission quite seriously, saying, "It is my historic duty," he said, "to write what my destiny orders me to write." Well, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. And that's Schoenberg. Really, when you do wake up, or when you have time to kill, Google Schoenberg and then see if you can hear a little quick snippet of his stuff. And you'll be amazed at what he was trying to do back then and why people were going crazy going to his concerts, especially if you can imagine paying money for it. The only people that I know that really like his music are the people that are in universities and colleges. Really. People that are on board at composing for endowments of the arts and things like that are the people that like his type of music. We call it atonal music. For all the 99.9% of the rest of human beings that are breathing, we can't stand listening to it. So, but you got to go check it out for yourself. Maybe you'll be that 0.1%. Anyway, if you turn on his music, there's one thing that can be guaranteed: you will not be falling asleep. You will not fall asleep listening to Schoenberg. That I guarantee. So don't turn on at night. This has been Kurt Thompson. Sleepy time music, history of women.